Hej och välkomna till den sista presentationen för dagen i den här salen. Jag heter Andreas Johansson. Jag kommer leda frågestunden efteråt. Är det någon av er här inne som har en fråga sen är det bara upp med handen så kommer ni få ställa den. Men nu lämnar vi över till Brendan O Riordan på Zutec.
Hello and thank you for coming. First of all, I know you've had a long day, so we're going to really jump straight into the investment case, and I'll go through the details of our offering throughout the presentation. The first thing I want to say is there's a huge market for our product. Construction is highly under-digitized. This is proven through various reports by McKinsey, The Economist, things like that. So the market is there. We have solutions for the market. We've been around for many years, and we have working solutions for that market, which is highly underdeveloped. We have a proven business. We've grown rapidly over the last few years, but during that rapid growth, we've also maintained profitability. But for us to get the quantum leap to really increase turnover, we came to the NASDAQ First North to raise capital to help us do that. We listed on March 15th, so we're only one quarter in, really. Our Q3 report, which we released last month, showed positive gains, positive profitability, and positive forecasts as well. So this is where we are today. My name is Brendan O Riordan. I'm the CEO, and I'm going to go through just a bit about who we are, what we do, the market, financials, the roadmap, and then we're going to do a Q&A at the end. So, who we are. Myself, Brendan O Riordan, I'm the CEO, been with the company for 7 years. Conor O'Brien is here, our CFO, also with the company 7 years. And Mike White, the CTO, he's not here, he's a very young baby. He has been with the company since its inception in 18 years ago. So, we are Zutec. We provide software as a service for the building construction industry. Our software is cloud-based. It's digitizing and improving efficiencies within construction on some of the largest sites around the world. Where, for example, the Abu Dhabi airport, the new port, the Hamad port in Qatar, all use our software to help efficiencies across the project. But we also concentrate on smaller companies, and one of the big things we're pushing towards is smaller companies to be able to get ongoing license fees rather than just project fees, because that's where we see the scaling is within our company. We are across, we're not global, but we have operations in Ireland, UK, a partner in Italy, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, and Australia. So, what do we do? Sorry, that's fine. We digitize that entire industry, construct technology. It's smoothing workflows, as I said, helping with efficiencies. The overall result of everything we do is increased efficiency. So what we're trying to do on these large projects, any project really, the problem is increasing efficiencies. Productivity has dropped in the last 50 years in construction, and they can't get around that by adding more people because it's dropped because of health and safety, working rules, things like that, and construction regulations. So what we have to do is increase efficiency by making people work more efficiently. They can't be bringing drawings out to site, they're the wrong ones, they're working from the wrong specifications, they're taking details down in notes, they're going back to the office to type them up. We digitize all of those workflows and help increase that efficiency. It makes the project safer because they're being built exactly to specification. Any problems raised are all managed and everything is signed off, so it gives full transparency across a project. We're data-driven, not document-driven, which means we're very sticky. So the information we collect during a construction project, they need a demolition of that project. So we are there for the entire life cycle of the project. We're right there. They're using our system daily for 30, 40, 50 years. You know, we haven't had any projects that have been demolished, but we are still there right through to the end. So, as you can see, it's cutting-edge technology. We deliver on-site BIM, 3D integration to data. We have 3D viewers. People can view any data through. They can make changes, say something requires work or is finished, using the 3D interface. We hand over reports. So if they're building a project, everything comes out to business intelligence reports, all that data we collect, and they can see exactly where they are in a project. They don't have to rely on people guesstimating, I suppose is the word, how far they are finished, how many lights bulbs have been installed. It's all exact data up to date rather than week or two out of date. We often know, Zutec would often know where the delays are going to be and when handover might be. So, and really that comes down to the old inefficiencies. It moved from paper to PDF, and there's some use of Excel and things like that, but the market really is only beginning to grab these digital tools now. We do direct sales, we can partner, and we have both project sales, so we can be used on just a big project, or we can be used by a customer, an actual company who use us for all of their company projects, all of their ongoing on-site observations, things like that. So there's different revenue models that we're in at the moment. All of it is recurring revenue. We have great contracted sales up to 2021, so we can look forward and see how we're doing. Some of the projects we were on could be 5-6 years. And then we look at if we sign up a ongoing license fee, we look at that as a 3-year term, but it could go on for 10, 20, 30 years. We've worked on projects like Wembley Stadium. That was one of the first big projects we did. All of the asset data on Wembley Stadium is hosted in Zutec. They use it daily to find out what the service requirements are, what the warranty requirements are, things like that. It's all hosted in Zutec. That was finished in 2007, and they pay us a hosting fee since then. The Shard in London, that was finished in 2011. The same thing. They use that on a daily basis to find out what the assets, what the service needs are, what the maintenance needs are, and who the suppliers are, things like that, but particularly warranty information as well. We're currently working on Big Ben. This is not an asset data management, but they're using our tool to grade every single piece of blockwork and ironwork on Big Ben before they'd make a decision whether they take it out or repair it in place. All of that is transferred into a 3D model, so they can open up a 3D model of Big Ben in Zutec at any time and see the status of each block or each piece of ironwork and find out where it is, what needs to be done, what the current process that's going on in each block, each piece of ironwork. Now, obviously, it's a big project, but the bigger project is going to be the entire House of Commons, which has not been awarded as yet. Some of the companies we work with, you've got Bechtel, a large American company. WSP are one of the largest consultants on the planet. AECOM, similar. Multiplex are one of our big clients in the UK. They built Wembley originally. They're working on all of the big towers around the city in London. We work with them. We're a default tool with them. We've worked with Samsung Construction Technology on things like the Cleveland Clinic in Abu Dhabi and in India with them. Vinci, Bouygues, French companies we've worked with. Qatar Foundation, both in Qatar and in the UK. Lendlease in Australia. So we've got excellent clients. And we keep them, we retain them. Because at the moment, we're the Rolls-Royce of systems. You know, if they've got a big project like that, they use us to make sure they get over the line, both as close to on time and as close to cost as possible. So the market. The building and construction collaboration services is estimated to be about a $2 billion industry at the moment, growing at 15 to 20%. I think that's totally undervalued. Because people use Excel, they use different normal office tools to do that now. They're not specialized. So it's a much bigger market. And in my opinion, it's growing much faster. Construction is growing at about 3 or 4% per year. So even that will drive it on. That's the minimum growth. But digitization of construction is growing hugely. McKinsey did a report recently which showed that it was the second least digitized market out there. The only less digitized market was hunting and agriculture. So it's a growing market. And you can see the enterprise content management, enterprise resource management, they're growing. We're moving into that space because they're using tools like that which aren't fit for purpose to manage the building construction collaboration services. So that market is there for us to take. We've had rapid growth. 15 to 20% is in the market growth. We have multiple revenue opportunities. We can come in to do one part of it, maybe the defect management, the asset management, the 3D element. We can come in at design, during construction, at handover, but also during hosting, and that's just on projects. We also come in with individual companies, whether they're smaller contractors or architects, engineers, and they manage their internal processes using Zutec. And I'll get to that in a moment, but that's a big part of our push for scaling. It's a niche market, but it's huge already, and it's not limited because everyone is expecting to have digital tools in construction. They have them in every other part of their life. Why wouldn't they come into construction? Construction is notoriously slow to change, but once it changes quickly, and that's what's happening at the moment. That's what we're in the middle of. So a very quick bit about our financials, and I won't go into too much detail. We have, in 2015-16, we turned over just over 15 million kroner. Now, obviously that was in euro. In 2016-17, just below 25 million kroner. And in the first 9 months of the current year, and just to point out that our financial year runs to the 30th of June, we've already turned over what we did last year. And our contracted sales, so sales we've secured that we've definitely have already, and these I'm talking from Q3 because that's what the last report, will be over 35 million kroner. Our EBITDA, you can see we made a loss 2015-16. We moved into good profitability in 2016-17, and our profitability this year with the IPO costs and with we're obviously investing in the future. We've hired more people, things like that. Isn't going to get the same growth, but we're still showing some profitability when we take out the IPO costs. And we're beating our forecast by about 20%, what we said in the original investor presentations when we were joining the market. So I think we're pretty proud that we've already passed last year's sales as of March 31st. It was a big thing for us. We have a net cash of about 51.6 million SEK. Our solidity is 91.1%. We have a very, very strong balance sheet. We've increased our revenue. We've increased our total sales up to 2021. A lot of the sales we've got in, they may only start in the next year, but they may go to 2021, 2022. So we've increased that by substantially in the first quarter of our trading. We've had an 8% increase in project numbers. And what we're going to start doing is releasing that on a monthly basis to enter user numbers and project numbers that we've gained, and that will be press released on a monthly basis. We've certified the company to ISO 27001, which is very important. We're dealing with a lot of sensitive data now. People are more aware that data is sensitive. So getting that has got us across the bridge into a lot of companies that would have questioned about that beforehand. We've made some key hires in management, general manager in the UK, new sales staff, new development staff. We've contracted some people in for short terms to help with strategies, things like that. And we're now going to use HubSpot, which is the cutting edge CRM to help manage our sales channel. Our new clients in Q3, which was January to March, Atkins, Cairn Homes is one of the largest developers in Ireland, Walls Construction, Ethos Engineering. They're clients, they're not projects. So they will go on and on, paying us a monthly fee. And every user that gets added in increases our income every month on that. New projects with Sir Robert McAlpine, ISG, Quintain. The Quintain project is around Wembley. It's the biggest residential development in the UK. We secured that in Q3. ProBuild, Como, Mirvac are all in Australia. We've good business down there as well. So the roadmap for the company, where are we going? You know, we've raised this capital. We could continue with our growth path of 20 to 30% a year, but really we need to accelerate that in a big way. Of course, we're going to increase the stickiness of our product. That's central to it. That everyone who uses Zutec definitely uses the next project. They're not going to want to get left behind. Continued focus on the platform system. So our system was very much, we used to implement it on projects, very much for the bigger projects where we would have implementers on site for some of it. We're platforming that, making it simpler, having extra products to allow those smaller customers to come in and self-implement. That comes down, and I'll come back to the IoT in a moment, to high volume e-commerce sales. We can change our sales strategy using the HubSpot model of inbound sales and inbound marketing to be able to sell online. People be able to add users online, increase the uses of Zutec and the users, and therefore our income online. Simpler solutions. So putting a new skin for these smaller companies onto the front of our extremely high-end back-end system, and continue to be the preferred choice for marquee projects. we've worked on some, as I say, you know, the Shard, Wembley Stadium, Cleveland Clinic, Abu Dhabi Airport, Qatar, the new airport in Doha, the new port in Doha. Those are enormous projects around the world, and we've got to continue to look after those as well and make sure we do that, and we're doing well. So we have 2 sales strategies, one to continue getting those, and often what people who work on those large projects, they move as teams, so we move with them. So we will get the next project with them as well. We will, and to come back up to the middle, integrate with IoT and BMS. So IoT is very much a buzzword. BMS is building management systems. So one of the things we used to do was provide data that was gathered during construction or was inputted by people on assets. But what we're doing now is integrating into the building's brains and pulling that information back into Zutec. So being able to look at it against, say, the performance of a air conditioning unit, be able to look at what it was meant to be against what it is, live data. So we're moving into that space as well. That's very important because buildings are changing. The construction industry has always been quite closed. You'd have big players doing certain parts of it, but that is changing as tech, the likes of IoT, are bringing the price down and bringing the efficiencies up. So we're joining that as well. We can do a Q&A now with myself. Connor is here for any financial information. But one thing I'll just say very quickly, currently our share price gives us a market cap of about 120 million SEK. If we take the cash off that, it's about 70 million SEK, which gives us we're trading at 2 times revenues. In our industry, the likes of Aconex, BIM Objects, things like that, some of them are they're trading between 5 and 10 times revenues, with some outliers at up to 40 times revenues. And there's some movement in the space as well. So the likes of Aconex, a large Australian company, they were bought out by one of the large providers. So there's a lot of movement, a lot of people trying to get into our industry. And we are, as I say, with those marquee projects, marquee clients, we are ahead of the curve of anyone in the industry. And my current focus is to turn this company into a sales and marketing machine, to scale it for the smaller customers, the smaller clients, while also garnering those marquee projects and keeping them going. So thank you very much, and I welcome any questions.
Thank you, Brendan. Come over here so we can see you on the webcast. There's not a lot of you here in the room, but if you do have a question, raise your hand and don't feel embarrassed by your English. You can pose a question in Swedish and I'll do my best to translate. But since I'm standing here, I'll take the first question. You mentioned, I think, in one of the reports, a new sales strategy, and you touched upon it here, getting to the smaller customers. Could you go into more detail on that? What's different between this and what you've done before?
Okay, so absolutely. What we've built over the years is a very flexible system to be able to get onto those large projects that require quite bespoke solutions. So our sales strategy has always been highly technical. So we bring in, construction professionals, architects, things like that, to help sell us in the sales process. But it's very heavy on tech and a very long sales cycle. Some of these projects you could be bidding for 6 to 8 months to get the specification right, things like that. But if you take it back to the simpler part of what we can offer, so anyone who wears a hard hat and boots and takes notes, that's who I'm saying, that's our target client. Anyone that's an architect, consultant, small contractor, large contractors, they can use our tools. And if we simplify the process, we put a very strong strategy in place, I can drop salespeople in as needed, where needed, and give them a script to run it. So companies like HubSpot, Salesforce, they help you with that, and that's what we're really pushing on. So along with inbound marketing, people don't buy the same way anymore. Selling used to be about calling up someone and saying, would you like to buy this? But now it's about saying, I see you were looking at our website, and these are the problems you have. Someone who's looking at our website or who wants a solution have Googled it or looked into websites, looked into different things. You get the information about them, see what their problems are, and show you how you can solve it, rather than going out to them and saying, this is our product. Does it help? Do you have a need for it? You find their need and then work the product to it. But changing from that large enterprise, large project model, keeping that, but adding in the high volume sale. That's very important. That's how we can get scale. The companies, any SaaS company that has had large scale has always done that.
Yeah. And that means that you will be part of smaller projects that these small contractors do as well, like renovating a kitchen or perhaps a bit bigger, building a house, let's say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely, and you know, it's important to say that on a project, you know, we can be implemented on a project, but on any size project, if you were building this hotel, there would be between 50 and 70 stakeholders, different companies involved. So they're a target market for us. That's where we're moving towards.
And those companies, if they're on a project, they doesn't already use your service for that project, or? Well,
this is the beauty of it. They already are using our product.
Yeah.
But it's been paid for at the project level, so they're only using it for one project.
Yeah.
Now this is changing. We've had good movement in this type of our new sales strategy. So we have a huge amount of users that are already using our system, who are potential actual clients. You know, they're using it under someone else's license. So that's where the push is.
Okay. The construction industry is slow to digitize, as you mentioned. It's a conservative business. Have they been slow to digitize for a reason, i.e. that they don't want to, or for the lack of proper tools, and what is changing now?
Well, there's a few things have changed. I think, one, the hardware is better. You know, when you're on a construction site, you know, it used to be PDAs and things like that. They didn't really work properly. Even a few years ago, the iPhone 4 and 5 were a bit small, things like that. So now with good connectivity, there's good Wi-Fi on site, things like that. People can use their tablets. I think that's a big part of it. But also, people are used to it. You know, they're using Uber, they're using the food apps. I'm not sure which ones you use in Sweden, Deliveroo, things like that. So people are used to using it and they're expecting it. And I've noticed, you know, I've been in this industry for quite a while. The last 2 years in particular, people aren't asking you the basic questions about, oh, what about Wi-Fi and does it work in the rain, and what if you're wearing gloves? People have already thought about those problems. So they're actually looking at the advantages to using it now rather than trying to pick holes. And you're right, construction has always been conservative. It's a very old industry. But they're now, you know, most buildings being built are modeled in 3D, even smaller ones, you know, down to small schools, things like that. So there's a big change in it, and they're looking how they can optimize how they work using some of the tools that may already exist or new ones that come in. So there is an appetite for it in construction now.
Anyone got a question in the audience? Right there.
Yeah. Okay, so
we got to repeat the questions for the webcast.
Oh, sorry.
For a project like Wembley Stadium, is the subscription time for your software just during the construction, or does it, you know, go on afterwards? That was your question, right? Yeah.
Okay, so it obviously varies, but if I take Wembley Stadium or any of the big projects like that, the Shard, things like that, we had a subscription during construction, which is quite high. There's a lot of people using it. There's a lot of different elements, and then that moves into a hosting subscription after that. For for a long time, yeah. If you want to demolish a building, you got information from the individual contractors when you built it about hazardous materials. You have to have that to be able to demolish anything. So it's stored in Zutec, so there's no reason they'd get rid of it. And then they're using it as a tool as well. So yeah. There's about 95% of our projects turn into hosting. Yeah. So
let me repeat that question. What was the revenue split between software as a service during the construction and the hosting revenues afterwards, after the project is complete?
Okay, and I'm going to add something to that. There's another element of our business, which is the licensing by companies to help manage their internal. And we call that, there's hosting and licensing and then project. So the hosting and licensing is about 20% of our income at the moment, but it's growing faster than the other part. So it was a few years ago less than 5%, but in the last year and a half it's grown to about 20%. from just below 10. So that's the area we're concentrating on, not just the hosting, but the licensing with companies, because that's where the long-term scalability comes from.
More questions? One over there.
Yes. So
can you? Sorry. Can you give us some? Can you give us some guidance about North America?
Yeah. So our expansion plans at the moment are some Southeast Asia, the Scandinavian region, and North America. So Canada and the US. We've had some exploratory meetings in Canada and the US. We are going over there in the fall, October, November, with a sales push. We were hoping to do it earlier, but with the summertime coming up and things like that, it probably wasn't the best idea. We wanted to make sure that we get a good run on it. So we're attending numerous conferences at that time. We have already done some web demos, and we're going over to do direct demos to very large companies in the US. This was all in the report, so I can say it. So we are hoping that we will have contracts there by the end of the year.
More questions? Did you develop your software yourself?
Got it this time.
Right.
Yes, everything is developed in-house. We currently have 14 developers in just south of Dublin in Ireland. When I joined the company, there was 3. So yes, everything's developed in-house. Yeah.
In terms of your sales, how you do it on a per project basis, right? But how many of those projects are built by the same company or got same company on top? So how dependent are you on your sales of a few contractors that do multiple projects?
Obviously, that's changing all the time. A few years ago, it was probably a worry, which was the change. But there's a good spread. We're live on, and I don't have the exact number, but it's about 75 projects at the moment.
Yeah.
I would think, off the top of my head, it's about 25 to 30 different companies.
Yeah.
Probably a bit higher, but I'd need to get the exact figures.
Yeah. And when you enter a new market like North America or Southeast Asia, do you build your own sales force there, or do you work with what's it called, partners, whatever?
So we have options on that. For example, we've partnered with a company in Italy.
Yeah.
North America we'll probably direct sell, set up over there, incorporate and set up a team over there. That will really depend on how quickly we can get contracts over the line to become revenue generating. Often for us, languages, it can be the problem. That's why in Italy we're partnering.
Yeah.
And in Scandinavia we'll do direct, because you guys have probably better English than me. So America will most likely sell direct, but in areas of it we may partner, such as the West Coast, which is that the time difference makes a big problem. But for Chicago, New York, and into Toronto, things like that, it's quite a simple flight from Ireland. Yeah. So we probably, and we'll incorporate there and hire people there.
Yeah. More questions from the audience? Well, then I'll continue. This integration with IoT and BMS systems, that will generate a lot of data and also have a lot of data during the construction. That all this data can be used for optimization, both during construction and the running of the building. And I guess this is a business opportunity in the future for you more than it is now. But how are you thinking about that, and what kind of opportunity does it present to have all this data?
So one of the things we're doing is working on a European Commission funded project, Horizon 2020 project, which is all about gathering that data live. So they have different types of data, which is actual data, what it was designed data, and then there would be simulations running with particular weather of how a building should be performing. And the idea is that we're the visualizer of that data. So we will be able to look back over years of gathering that data and see which areas of building may have underperformed, overperformed, things like that. And that is a commercial model we can work from at that stage, because having that kind of data of, and when they move into contract construction where they may receive some of their payment if the building performs, we can see that we can commercialize that in the future. But at the moment, the IoT and BMS is really taking off. The Horizon 2020 project finishes next year, so we'll have a lot of opportunity from that.
Yeah. And our time's up. Thank you very much, Brendan. You have a... Wait a minute. No, come up here on stage, and you can use
There's a mic
my
there.
mic.
Don't sing.
Just very, very briefly, because profitability, of course, depends on the ability to retain your profits and distribute your profits. So obviously, corporate taxes are extremely critical in this situation. While Zutec AB is a Swedish registered company, it is Irish tax resident, and its profits will be taxed in Ireland. And the corporation tax rate, the normal is 12.5%. However, for companies engaged in R&D activities, what's categorized as knowledge box activities, there's a special lower rate again of 6.25%, half the normal rate. So it's very, very attractive for R&D companies such as Zutec to be trading out of Ireland because of the not just the 12.5% rate, but for specific categories, if you can prove R&D, which we can, it's 6.25%. So that leaves a huge ability to retain your profits for reinvestment and for distribution to shareholders. I think it's an important point from an assessment point of view.
And that's even though you're listed in the Swedish...
Even though it's where the company is tax resident. Is tax resident. All right.
And on that important point, we'll end it there. I'll ta nästa grej på svenska. Ni som sitter i lokalen här, när ni är på väg ut så kommer ni få en drinkbiljett. Den tar med er till där kaffet serverades innan. Får lösa in det mot en drink. Och sen så fortsätter ni runt hörnet till vänster till studion där Spotlight, för detta aktietorget alltså, kommer hålla en presentation och intervju och sådär. And about that, thank you, Brendan, for your presentation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.